West Germany Green Found a Future. From Special Correspondent. Tomorrow the World. Upon a time, a hostile stepmother and kind but weak father decided that it has no room for children who thought for themselves, so they abandoned Hansel and Gretel in a dense wood, far from perishing. As their parents had expected, Hansel and Gretel became greens. They caught Kate at the forest nuclear terrace and treasured in its trees. Soon they spied a glittering gingerbread house in a clean. Being hungry, they raced inside, and this was their first big taste, for the house belonged to the wicked rich of the establishment. How are West Germany no longer so young Greens doing in the trial? In terms of votes, they are on the up. At the general election in March 1983, the Greens got into the Bundestag for the first time with 28 seats. This spring, in the state of Hesse, they entered a near coalition with the Social Democrats. In June, the Greens displaced the struggling Free Democrats at the third West Germany party in the European Parliament. Greens already hold seats in 6 of the 11 land or state parliaments, and in state elections next year, the Greens are hoped to win seats in 3 more. Louder. Beyond that, some Greens are already thinking, or rather furiously arguing with each other about joining governments in Bonn. This heady rise was difficult for the Greens to handle, partly because it came so swiftly. At federal level, the party is less than 5 years old. Its president, the Alternative Political Alliance, a losing federation of local groups with a counter-political team, fought the 1979 European election and got 3.2% of the total vote. Running for the first time under the name of Greens in the 1980s general election, the new party won only 1.5%. The Greens blamed this up promising a national debut on an all-absorbing contest in 1980 between the established parties. The Social Democrats beat the Christian Democratic opposition led by Mr. Franz John Strauss. In the Greens' view, the center and left was not ready to risk voters on a newcomer for fearing let in their right-wing boymen. But that was the bravest of setbacks. By then, the Greens has already started winning seats in local and land elections, starting with Berlin in 1979. Their breakthrough into the Bundestag came with the earliest general election called last year by Mr. Helmut Kohl, the new federal chancellor, confirmed his Christian Democratic Free Democratic government in office. The Green win 5.6% of votes with support for left-wing Free Democrats disenchantted by their party's challenger partners. This was the first time in more than 20 years that the new party has breached the 5% barrier, which has to be crossed to win seats on the West German system of proportional representation. The Greens also get just enough seats to qualify them for full parliamentary status. The electoral seats on community, official, staff, and election expenses. In taking into parliamentary life in Bonn, the Greens has kept their irreverence, good humor, and their taste for family roles. They occupy large space in one of the buildings in Bonn set aside for the members of the Bundestag and their staff. The office provides employees for nearly 150 people. Greens are not greedy. They could even take the year's bankrupt salary of about 94,000 times gross plus tax-free expenses of about 56,000 them. than Denmark. Instead, denying audience, they draw only 24,000 DM a year after tax and the same again in expenses. The rest of the monies go into a special account to be spent on green courses chosen by parliamentary party. Green members of the Berners can not only draw less money than those in other parties, they are younger. Many of the Greens are women. Most of them refuse to meet the banquet's unofficial dress code. They wear jeans, t-shirts, or home kings jerseys. Above all, they like to show their more conventional colleagues. They brought flowers and plants to the current parliamentary open session last year, and then proceed to boycott its clover sweeping in ceremony. Mr. Joachim Fischer, a member of the Bundestag and until recently the Green Party parliamentary field leader, making his party's chaotic garden of weeds, and his policies sound attractive, especially by comparison with the manicure golf law represented by the other parties. But some of the Greens themselves are growing tired of the deliberated informality and not so deliberated inefficiency. Simply have to carry it in other way. For those who disagree with them, the Green Party's appeal is their talent for making the Spanish parties think out and re-justify their policies. Without this question from the Greens, West Germany policies, national as well as local, will be poor and green. But the Greens need an answer for themselves if they are to survive in the wicked world.